Welcome, everyone, to the IWM Broadcast Network. We are tonight broadcasting the iRacing Warriors Motorsportz event at Daytona International Speedway for the IWM Daytona 300. I'm your host, Rick Souza, and I'm joined here in the booth by my co-host, John DeRudris.
Yeah, Rick, it's going to be a fun one here tonight at Daytona under the lights. It always is. And we have a full 25-car field for you tonight. And it's going to be full of action, maybe some three-wide action going through. You're going to have some awesome pit stops. And, obviously the big one is bound to happen here when we come to these restrictor plate tracks. So let's go through your starting lineup here for tonight's IWM Daytona 300. On the pole, you have Harley Barletta with a 49.844. In second, Ty Bostic. Third, Joey Doucette. Fourth, Blake Giglio. Fifth, Brad Previtt. Sixth, you have Evan Amick. Mark Feeney starts in P7. Christopher Howell starts in P8. John Ledger is in 9th. And rounding out your top 10 for tonight's event is Jeff Nannini.
In 11th, you've got Andrew Sorowick. In 12th, Dave Sharon. In 13th, Ian Ogden. In 14th, Mike Slagter. 15th is Pete Woodrum. 16th is Kublai Solan. In 17th, Freddie Durstock joins us. In 18th, Austin Armstrong. 19th is Dan Withers. And 20th is Marco Barabee.
In 20th, you got 21st, rather, you got Bobby Gibson. 22nd, Dave P. Sharon. 23rd, you got David Watson. 24th, you got Sean Shootman. And it looks like
that's our field.
Levels are pretty low, according to some viewers.
That's a little surprising, but we'll keep after it.
Yeah, we'll keep after that.
All right, so we'll go. That's our field for tonight. Lights are off on the pace car.
Lights are off on the pace car, and Rick, we are about to go green flag racing here at Daytona, and we are green flag racing here in the IWM Daytona 300. The field is working their way down into turn one right now, and leading the pack, Harley Barletta, your pole sitter.
Field is trying to get organized on that outside line. Right now we are bumper to bumper as these drivers begin to feel through lap number one here at Daytona.
We already have some guys. It looks like it's the 1111 project group that is dropping to the back, which is creating some mayhem.
May have just been a few of those guys. We still show a couple. That's Harley Barletta and I think Blake Giglio are also part of that 1111 group, but maybe a group of them has decided to form up. I mean, this really is about drafting partners and finding your line around this track.
It really is, and that's what's going to be the key to winning here tonight. Speaking of keys, let me go through my 3 keys for tonight's race. Key number 1, tandem pitting or pitting with the group. You have to make sure that you have some help going down pit road when you are here at a super speedway, especially at Daytona. Number 2, pay attention to pushing in the corners. We've seen in a lot of super speedway series that we have covered that it has been an issue about pushing in the corners, so make sure to always watch out about that. And third, watch out for the big one or big ones, as it says right there in my 3 keys to the race, because with a lot of action that we had last week, there may be multiple big ones here tonight at Daytona. But as of right now, it looks like we have 2 very distinct groups forming on the track, which is kind of shocking to see that this early in the race, Rick.
It's surprising, but here it is. So we've certainly got this first group with about 10 or 12 cars that are hanging together, and the balance, pretty much this group has just broken in half. There's the first group and second group.
Yeah, this group is definitely broken in half, and it's being led by Harley Barletta. Now, let's move our way back to the back of the pack, and that other group is led by the Tandem 1111 project drivers. So very interesting move by these 11-11 drivers here tonight, just going to the back, because right now you have two 11-11 drivers up in the front of the first pack and two 11-11 drivers in the front of the second pack. As we see cars just going through. Car on the wall. We're going 3 wide on lap 4, and it looks like that car on the outside tagged the wall there a little bit, but should be good to go.
All right, so we'll do our best to follow both these packs. We've got the second pack. That's Christopher Howell and Ian Ogden, who are leading the second pack, which is frankly really not very organized. There's a couple tandem cars happening there, but they're not just quite as in line as our lead pack.
Yeah, and it looks like we have a car all the way dropped to the back. It's that fifth 11-11 driver. So you have the 11-11 team split all throughout this field right now, and that may possibly alter a little bit of what they do when I was talking about partnering up or group pitting. So we'll see how that affects that team later on in the race. So right now, you have Harley Barletta still out front of this race, Blake Giglio in second. You have Ty Bostic in P3, Joey Doucette in P4, Mark Feeney rounds out your top 5 going on lap 6.
We saw Tyler Peebles entering the pits there. I'm not sure if he's got a technical issue or something wrong with his car, but he has made his way to pit road. That's the number 75 of Tyler Peebles.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting to see, and it looks like we have a lot of action going on, Rick, which is not surprising to see here at Daytona, but it looks like there's a lot of jockeying for position when you have 115 to go. And that's what I'm trying to think about this. If I had a bonus key to the race, it's got to be patient. You got to be patient because it's a long way around this track, and it's a long time to drive. And you have to come down pit road multiple times. So you have a multiple stop race. You're going to have to get tires at some point. It's going to be interesting to see what happens as you see another car on pit road right there. But we'll see how this strategy works out for everybody going into the second pack and the first pack. But right now, you still have Harley Barletta leading that front pack right now. That's mainly on the bottom side of the track.
Yeah, there's an outside line that's formed up a little bit. That's the 97 car, I believe. That's trying to start up that second line. But it's just not as organized, my guess, or 91 car of Bradley Previtt as organized as they would like to be. Whoa. Yeah,
turn 4 has been a little bit of a trouble spot for these drivers. These cars seem to get really, really light on exit. Not really sure why that is, but it looks like with this particular setup, turn 4 has been getting those cars very light, which is not uncommon to see, but it's almost like every single car, except for those front few, are getting light.
Well, it seems to be snapping around, so that's always the challenge. So
right, it looks like we have, don't even know, we had a car go down below the yellow line for a pass. Got a block right there, wreck. We're wrecking in turn 2 or 3. Wrecking in turn 3. Car on the wall, that's Jeff Nani. Somebody got turned into the outside wall. I don't know if we're going to be able to go back and take a look at that, Rick, but Jeff Nani in that number 1 machine is damaged.
Yeah, he's coming down, I think, onto pit road here, trying to get a fast repair. And these drivers do get a fast repair tonight. So, I mean, that front tire is locked up. He's got some major front end damage on that car.
Yeah, my guess is he definitely broke that right front toe link to where it is completely locked, which is very, oh, there it comes. He's up against the wall. It's very hard to drive those cars once those toe links are broken. So we'll see if he's able to get back on the track. He should be the only car a lap down besides Peebles there and Gibson. But EP or Easy Peasy on YouTube says, let's go Marco. So got a fan out there, Marco, for you. So hopefully Marco can potentially pull off a win here tonight in the IWM Cup Series. But as of right now, your leader, Harley Barletta, is out front with 110 to go here in tonight's event.
Let's jump over to race info. We didn't have a time to cover that. We'll just tell folks what we've got here on track. So, again, this is the IWM Daytona 300 presented by EPI and U-Haul. You've got 120 laps. They've got 1 quick repair and 3 sets of tires.
Yep, and that 3 sets of tires, I think, is going to be a little bit more of a factor than people think, because once these tires wear out at these super speedways, you want to be able to make moves at the end of the race without sacrificing or scrubbing off speed by sliding your tires with making a move. So I think you're going to see a lot of 2-tire stops, a lot of no-tire stops, maybe alternating those, but we'll see how that plays out through the rest of the race. Now, looking back at this, Rick, we have almost 5 distinct groups of drivers on the track. You have that big group there, P1 all the way through P9, and then you have 2 cars right there, followed by 3 cars, followed by 6 cars. So you can see that second group, some people got impatient and was like, hey guys, I don't want to miss the pack. I want to go up there. So that looks like it's led by Freddie Durstock in the 5, and that Monster Energy machine right behind him there. So
yeah,
we'll see how that plays out.
That's Mike Slagter in the 14, and then we're getting that pack of 3. That's led by Christopher Howell, followed by Ian Ogden and Marco Barabee. And then that final pack, we've got Sean Schultman and Eric Ova, Austin Armstrong, David Sharon, and Dave and David. That's a father-son team racing together. That's correct. And Dan Withers is back there as well. So we'll try to run you through these. We'll kind of work our way back up here. We'll come down and I'll give you a shout out to each of your favorite drivers and maybe just bring them up and give them a little airtime.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start with your leader right now. Harley Barletta led almost every single lap tonight. He was your pole sitter out of Rochester, New York, and that number 81 machine. We've seen him win races. We've seen him do well here in the IWM Cup Series. Moving on to P2, you have Blake Giglio. He's been a front runner as well. Same town as Rochester. So my guess, they're on the same team. They're from the same city. They probably know each other, Rick. But that's my assumption. But Blake's a great driver. In P3, you have Ty Bostic out of Rockingham, North Carolina. Ty's another great driver that is in this series and looking to make a stamp and become a champion here at IWM. P4, you got Joey Doucette. He is a new runner here out of Oakland, and that's going to be a new face that we've seen up front quite a bit. So good to see him challenging these Season 2 vets. In P5, you have Mark Feeney out of Mansfield. He has been he was in Season 1 of the IWM Cup Series. Glad to have him back in Season 2. He's running strong here on the P5. In P6, go ahead, Rick. I'll let you have. I'll take 6 on back.
Okay. P6, Andrew Surowick. He's in his hometown, is Detroit, Michigan, and we're glad to see him. I think this is his first season here with IWM. He's in the 43 Jameson car. In 7th, we've got Kublai Salen, and I'm sure I'm butchering his last name. This is not his first rodeo with the IWM. He's been part of the first season, and we're welcoming him back to Season 2. 77 is Evan Amick from Clover, South Carolina. Evan's part of the Southern Esports team, and good to see him running up front today. The 91 of Brad Previtt is currently in 9th position. Brad's from Ontario. Welcome, Brad. And the 10th place is Christopher Howell. Christopher is from Moyock, North Carolina. I'm sure I said that incorrectly. And I'm from Charlotte, so there's a lot of these towns on the eastern side of the state that just don't come up in your everyday conversation. So Christopher was with us with Season 1, and he's just doing fabulous here in Season 2.
Yep, he was our Season 1 champion. And, we know he knows how to drive. I've raced against him a couple times. There's that pushing in the corner from his teammate, Ian Ogden there. Him and Ian Ogden both know how to drive really, really well. Ian had a great run in Season 1 as well. There's Marco Berube, but sorry for my mispronouncing that. I understand the pain, Marco. You got a fan out there watching on YouTube. He is a first-time driver here, rookie of sorts in IWM. Glad to have him a part of the series. In that good old number 5 Kellogg's machine, that is not Terry Labonte. That is our good friend Freddie Durstock out of Cincinnati, and he's looking for a strong run tonight. In that number 14 machine, you have Mike Sladker out of Roseland. He is a newcomer to the league, so glad to have him part of of the IWM Cup Series. He is running in P14 and in P15. Brad Previtt?
Yeah, that's actually in 14th position. That's Brad Previtt.
So did we?
No,
How did that happen?
I think he came back.
Okay, I was like, I thought we just talked about Brad. Well, good to have Brad again.
Yeah.
He's one of our Canadian drivers, which is awesome to see here in IWM. So that is your top 15 as it speaks. Let's go back. Rick, take it on back for.
Yeah, we'll just continue to let you know where people stand. This is P15. This is Sean Schutman in the 37. Behind Sean is the 52 of Eric Olva. Behind Eric is the number 9 of Dave Sharon. And behind Dave is his dad, David P. Sharon, in the 16. Behind David is the 13 car of Austin Armstrong. And behind Austin is the number 67 of Dan Withers.
Yep, Dan Withers. And that seems to be our fourth to last car on the lead lap. In a 3-car pack behind him, you have Ryan Pittman right there in the number 08 machine. Behind him, you have David Watts. And then in the 23rd spot, Pete Woodrum, the last car on the lead lap in that beautiful number 1 machine right there. John Ledger is 1 lap down, tailing this lead pack. So he's in a really good spot right now because if a caution comes out, you know, Rick, he's going to get that free pass. So John's looking to keep up with this front pack. Tyler Peebles is 3 laps down. He is making laps around this track. And Jeff Ninny is 9 laps down. And Bobby Gibson is 11 laps down. And that is your full 27-car field here tonight in the IWM Daytona 300. We are 19 out of 120 complete, so just about 10% through. And Harley Barletta in that 1111 project team seems to be doing great wonders here tonight at Daytona.
We are caution-free after 19 laps. We don't want to jinx this group, but this is a fabulous way to start this Daytona. Now, what we have seen here is that front group has settled into a follow the leader. That's a pack of nearly 10 cars just making time, which, you know what? This is your, as we talked earlier, this is that 4th key to this race, and that is patience. You've got to figure out you're 1/5 of the way through your 120 scheduled laps. You've got to make it all the way to the end. You've got to avoid getting caught up in a wreck or having other issues on track.
Yeah, Rick, and you're right there. I said a 10th of the way through, not a 5th of the way through. So my math right there was way off. But yeah, no, you're right. It's all about patience at this point, and green flag pit stops are coming very soon for these drivers. And they could be coming soon here within maybe the next 5 or 10 laps, depending on how they play their strategy. But right now, it looks like these two 1111 project teammates of Harley and Blake are leading around. Probably they're in a good seat right now because they can control basically when the entire field pits. So if they decide to go early, that is going to put them on a potentially stronger strategy versus somebody who waits a lap, because we know we've seen this in the actual Cup Series. When you come down pit road first, you have a slight advantage, especially when obviously not on super speedways as much, but you have a slight advantage because the rest of the drivers won't be carrying as much momentum as you will. They may be scrubbing off a little bit more speed, but we'll see how that plays out as we're approaching lap 22 out of 120, and it looks like really 3 distinct groups running right now, 1st through 6th.
Well, we're seeing we are seeing some pits. This is the second group led by Christopher Howell. We've got Christopher Howell in, Ian Ogden, Mike Slatter, Freddie Durstock, Brad Previtt, Austin Armstrong. We've got a lot of cars on pit road coming in for their first pit stop. So that first,
we have a car against the wall, though. Who is that? Was that Christopher Howell? Didn't mean to interrupt. No, that wasn't Christopher Howell. I believe that was John Ledger. That potentially, okay, we have the leaders coming down pit road right now, Rick, too. Couldn't tell who that was, but that was somebody hitting the wall there. But like I mentioned before, my first key to the race, Rick, pitting with partners and pitting with a group is the key to winning here at Daytona. And it's not even really about, it's about how big the group is, but it's about how consistent you all can run together, how consistent you can keep your cars nose to tail without passing each other. That is the key.
Well, we just saw John Ledger have to reset himself in his pit. Came in on an angle. I think he had the car a little bit outside his pit lane, so he had to start back up. We're seeing the third group of drivers now on pit road. That's Marco Barabee, David Sharon, Dave Sharon, Eric Olva. They're now making their way out. So we've got pretty much our first round of green flag pit stops. There are a few folks that have not yet come in. Mark Feeney, Kublai, Andrew Surk, they're making their way around. But for the most part, nearly everybody has made their way onto pit road.
Yep, everybody has made their way on the pit road, and it looks like we have a lot of different groups forming on the track.
Yep.
You have that lone driver right there. That's a very lonely feeling to be the only car down pit road. That is the number one car.
Yeah.
Pete Woodrum is very lonely right now on the track. Oh, he may have a partner right there coming around.
Well, that's Freddie Durstock still on pit road, so a little bit has not gotten off. So, all right. So we got those last few drivers now making their way onto pit road, and then we're back to our leaders, and everybody will have been.
Yep, and it looks like right now Andrew Surowick is your leader.
Well, he's on pit road right now, so I think it'll cycle through with Harley Barletta getting back out there and coming back into the lead once they make around.
We'll see what happens, because Andrew and Mark and Kublai, they were in that first group. And everybody, let's keep an eye on this. 23 was the magic number there where everybody came down pit road. So we'll see if Andrew, Mark, and Kublai can get off of pit road in time to be able to get out front of these drivers. Now, they're coming up on 2-lap cars. This is going to pose a big issue, and they're going to go 3 wide, try to split the middle. There goes Harley Barletta and the rest of the field. This can get a little tight, and there's Mark Feeney right there coming up the track. There's Kublai right there on the bottom lane, giving people enough room, and there in the front is Andrew Surowick, so it looks like they'll be okay. A little contact there, but between the 75 and Andrew, but looks like that first pack is the control pack, and they are back out front here tonight at Talladega.
But you're right. So we have one group that went in at lap 21, another group that went in at lap 22, and some folks that went in at lap 24. So we'll see how that affects the overall pit strategy of these other drivers.
Yep, and with Harley Barletta, he played that out perfectly. Him and his teammate there, Blake, they have control of this field. And now one thing I do have to say, though, is that second pack of Mark Feeney, Christopher Howell, really, Mike Slatker, Evan Amick, Ty Bostic, they are a lot closer than they were when they went down pit road. So, are they going to pose a threat to this front six? Possibly. It just depends on how quickly they can catch them. Right now, they're about 7.5 seconds back, but I believe with as good as the drivers that they can be, and they are, I think they're not going to have any issues catching their teammates up there in the front. But right now, we now have 18 cars on the lead lap after that first cycle of pit stops. Last car on the lead lap is David Sharon, 33 seconds off the pace.
So you've got Harley Barletta, Blake Giglio, and Joey Doucette right now sitting in 1, 2, and 3. But then you've got some lap cars that are filled in between, or some. So you got the 1 car, the 75 car. Those guys are all a lap down. That's Tyler Peebles, Jeff Neeney. So they're in the 75 car. That's Tyler Peebles. See who's behind Tyler. But there's the gap. So the guys behind there, that's the group of Andrew Surowick. He's currently showing now in 4th. He's got Kublai behind him, and they've got a lap car of the 54. That's David Watts behind them. So the field these groups are broken up, but not everybody in these groups is on the same pit strategy or the same lap as you are. So we have to go kind of farther back to find Christopher Howell and his group. That's Mike Slagter, Evan Amick, and Ty Bostic in this third group.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, look how close that number 14 is to the back of that 88. He is not pushing him, but he is giving him a big enough run into the corner and out of the corner. They are catching this lead pack. They've been hovering around 7.5 seconds. We'll see what it's at the line this time with 7.9. But they have been hovering around that 7 to 8 second mark for the last couple laps now. So we'll see how they face going here later stage of the race. Let's go over to YouTube and let's shout out a couple comments. Jerry says he is sorry he didn't make the race tonight, a little under the weather. Go Owls. So hopefully you feel better, Jerry. You can make it out. And Personal Biz says, love seeing 1111 well represented with the cool emoji there with the sunglasses. Yes, 1111 very represented here. We are very happy to have them on as a sponsor, as well as U-Haul and Elite Performance. 1111 Project's a great project. If you haven't checked it out already, go ahead and do that. You're actually looking right now at an 1111 Project car right there of Christopher Howell. And 2 1111 Project cars are out front as well. So yes, very correct there. They are well represented on the track. And you know how you're like, okay, how can you tell the difference between those two cars? Obviously the numbers on the side, but the number on the top. All of the 1111 Project cars have different colors on the roof of their Toyota Camrys. You have the orange there for Harley Barletta. You have the yellow there for Blake Giglio, and then going on back of there's Freddie Durstock in that number 5 machine. And going on back, if you take a look back at Christopher Howell, I believe he has a red number or green number. Can't remember exactly. Yep, it is a red number right there. So, yes, very well represented. And if it all looks like they're the same car, it's because it's the same paint scheme, different number, different driver. So they are doing really well. So let's go back over to the front pack right now. Looks like something happened. It broke this front pack up quite a bit. Don't really know what happened there, Rick.
Well, I think they're dealing with some lap traffic, and they had to work their way through that lap traffic, and some of that lap traffic is joining back in. But those three have finally broken away. So that's Harley Barletta, Blake Giglio, and Joey Doucette, which is 1, 2, 3, have begun to try and separate themselves from the lapped guys who had blended in with them and had joined in and were hanging on to that front group. So, if it was just 2 cars, it would be hard to have a breakaway, but with 3 cars, I think you can be successful in separating yourself, because if you go back and look at the time delta between Christopher Howell and his group, he's got now that's up to 9 seconds between Harley Barletta and Christopher Howell.
It is, but if you also take a look at who is in P3 or P4 and P5, they are running just over 2 seconds ahead of Christopher Howell, Mike Slacker, Evan Amick, Ty Bostic, and Mark Feeney. So that will become a 6-car pack. Let me rephrase that. Let me take that back. I cannot do math tonight. That will become I was right, a 7-car pack. So you have a 7-car pack right now, and then also looking at that front 4 or front 3 really right there, that is a 4-car pack. As long as those 7 can keep nose to tail without dodging in and out, they should be able to catch those drivers with pretty much ease. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. The more cars you have, typically the faster you'll be able to go. But as you said it, Rick, those front 4 minus the number 9, who's not on the lead lap, that is David Sharon. He was 1 lap down. They are very much nose to tail right now, and that number 81 machine is giving a big push from the 97. So we'll see what happens once Christopher catches those 2 drivers of Andrew Serwick and Kubalay Salin. But as of right now, and it looks like they actually just caught them, Rick. So let's see if we can go on back and take a look at that second pack forming up. They are about 9 seconds back.
Whoa!
We caught the wreck. We caught the wreck, Rick.
We did at just the right time, good or bad or indifferent, but we definitely saw that. We can go back and
I don't know if that was the broadcaster or what happened, But you could see two Southern Motorsports drivers there getting involved. Let's take this on back even further. So you have a block up to the top by Kublai Salin or Kalin. They're all formed up in a draft.
All right, okay. I think right here, and then we'll go back and we'll take a look behind Kublai.
Yep, let's see what happened here with these drivers. So you have Christopher Howell there up in the high side, followed by Matt Slapker in the number 14. Obviously, he has the momentum. Kublai goes up top to block. Really nowhere to go for that number 22 machine of Ty Bostic.
That was... he had the momentum, he had the line, and yeah, it's unfortunate he injected himself into that spot. Ty Bostic tried to avoid him a bit, and I think he actually caught that left rear.
Yeah, he did, and then that just completely stacked up the field. There's a two Southern Motorsports driver. That's one Southern Motorsports driver there.
Yeah, it's like Evan came up and tagged the left of Watts, who then came into the 49 and spun him. So that's unfortunate for those two drivers.
It really is, because that was one group that I was excited to see form up, and unfortunately we weren't able to see that happen, and we were able to cause I don't want to say we caused that wreck, because there is a broadcaster's curse, whether you believe it or not. It's a thing. I promise you, I'm the king of that. It definitely looked like there just wasn't enough room for Ty Bostic there, because he had the momentum, Rick, and it was just wrong place at the wrong time, and a ill-timed block, unfortunate there for the 49. But it looks like, gotta say, they all have quick repairs, so they should be okay to get back going, and we should be all green flag racing, so all those guys should be able to get back in this race.
I think the entire field pretty much came in here at lap 35, with the exception of David Watts. He's still out, and Freddie Durstock. So there's a few folks that were probably a lap down that stayed out trying to get their lap back.
Sure. And they should have come to down pit road. Everybody should have. It's that time in the race. It's lap 36, and by my calculations, you can go up to 24 laps on a set of on a tank of gas. So let's do some rough math here. Let's say we get the green flag going back at lap 38. So let's do some math. 38 plus 24, you're looking at lap 72. Add another 24 to that, you're looking at lap 96. And then taking a look at that, 96 plus 24 is 120. So this is going to become, I believe, a fuel mileage race at this point, with where exactly they pitted on track right now. Now, it looks like we're going to get one more lap without gridding up yet. So this is actually going to push that restart back one lap. But, Rick, this is going to, if there are no cautions, this is going to come down to a fuel mileage race at the end. And I expect to see some pit stops within the last 25 to 23 laps of this race. And it looks like we're going to be going back green this time by. So that prediction did hold true a little bit. So we'll see what happens here tonight. But right now, Rick, it looks like it could become a fuel mileage race.
Absolutely. So with 37 laps in the book, 84 laps to go.
My bad. I miscalculated on my math. I said 72. So if you pit 24 laps from now, you have lap 62 plus another 24. You're looking at lap 86 plus another 24. You're looking at about lap 110. So those last pit stops are going to come within the last 10 to 15 laps there, barring any cautions. So we'll see what happens as the field has gathered back up on the backstretch. They are going to go green this time by in the IWM Daytona 300. So if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook or anywhere else you may be watching us right now, we thank you for watching, and we hope you're enjoying tonight's event here in the iRacing Warriors Motorsportz Cup Series Season 2, brought to you by the IWM Broadcast Network.
All right, so the pace car should be making its way down.
Pace car is off. They're in the Geico restart zone, and we are off. Green flag racing here again at Daytona. Harley Barletta, you know, would typically say, oh, he's checking out from the field, but it's a super speedway. You can't really do that with one car. So he goes all the way up to the top side, blocking that high line, trying to get his teammate down below to go to the bottom side. He's not able to, but that means number 14 is going to be at the point on the bottom line. That is Mike Slatker there, followed by Ty Bostic.
Wow, that's a great recovery for Ty Bostic, who was initially in that little bit of that last little kerfuffle that we had there. Seemed to make it back and is doing pretty well.
Yeah, he is, and look at that top line. That top line is forming up right now, but don't look too far back, Rick. That fourth car in line is the other 1111 project car. They are all looking to get formed up here tonight at Daytona as the number 88 goes to the bottom. So right now you have an 1111 project car in first, second, and fourth. So sorry there, Mr. Doucette. I think that number 88 wants to get through to get to his teammates. But right now it looks like the entire field has basically gone single file, about 15 cars back. We have some side-by-side racing. And there's that Audi you could saw move to the bottom side of the track there. And the bottom line is becoming the preferred line here at Daytona, 39 laps in. Coming to a third of the way through here tonight, and your leader, Harley Barletta, has led almost every lap tonight, being pushed by his teammate Blake in P2.
Well, we've got a good mix of our lead lap cars, and going back and looking at, we've got 15 cars still in the lead lap. The last car is the 37 of Sean Schutman. The first car, I think, a lap down is going to be Ian Ogden. Nope, check that. That's Pete Woodrum, I believe, is in the 19th position. That is a lap down. So 18 cars on the lead lap here. 40 laps are in the books. And we are surprisingly running a single groove right now.
And you know that's what you would typically see in the actual Cup Series. So they're taking a lesson from all the Cup guys and being, hey, I'm gonna actually just run, you know, just nose to tail, front to back, not gonna make any issues, push the envelope right now. But right now, the entire field, except for maybe one or two cars, is on that bottom line.
All right, so we thank you for tuning in tonight. This is the IWM Broadcast Network broadcasting the iRacing Warrior Motorsportz Daytona 300 here at Daytona Super Speedway. I'm Rick Souza, your host. My co-host is John DeRudris, and we're glad you could join us.
Yeah, it's been a fairly clean race here tonight. A third of the way through, we did actually call out that last caution on the point. I mean, literally, we just panned over right at the right time. But we only had one caution here tonight in this 42 lap event going on so far 42 laps in. And we did have one set of green flag pit stops on lap 24. And by my calculations, that is as far as you can go on one tank of gas. So we'll see how that plays out here tonight. I'm eyeing these drivers to come in around lap 60 to 62, and then lap 86 is my second window, 110 is my third window. So we'll see how that plays out here tonight. But as it stands right now, Harley Barletta is your leader here tonight with Blake Giglio in second, Joey Doucette in third, Christopher Howell in fourth, Mike Slatker in fifth, Ty Bostic in sixth, Andrew Surwick in seventh, Evan Amick in eighth, Mark Feeney in ninth, and Austin Armstrong rounding out your top 10 in the IWM Daytona 300.
All right, so we can go back through the field, John. We'll pick up the number 11th car. That's Marco Barabee. That's so 11 is Marco Barabee. 12th is going to be Eric Alva. 12th is going to be Dan Withers, followed by the 049 of Kublai in that Audi paint scheme. Sean Shootman is back here in 15th. Dave Sharon is in 16th. And Brad Pevitt in the 91 is currently showing in 17th.
Oh, we're wrecking in turn 3. Big wreck in turn 3. Watch out, Freddie. Watch out, Pete.
That was Dave Sharon.
Yeah, you have the 75 there. You have the number 9 machine. I believe that's the number 9 machine.
Let's go back and see just what happened there.
Oh, what happened to the number 9?
Let's try to focus on that number 9 car of Dave Sharon. Was he turned by the by Peebles, by Tyler Peebles in the 75? Let's go back and take a peek.
So here we go. He has a run to the back of that number machine. Hits him right there. And
he turned him.
Yeah, just a product of a little too much pushing there. Hard hit there for the 75. Hard impact to the right side. And here comes the 08. Nowhere to go. Just absolutely T-bones the 75. Back into the wall. Just nowhere to go for the 08.
Yeah. See, that's the 19's John Ledger. Let's see, he end up missing that and just ducking low. Let's just double check. Yeah, it's like he was successful in being able to avoid that.
Yep. Great move there from Dave. Well, not Dave, from wow, the number 19.
John Ledger.
John Ledger. Yeah, I was reading the scoreboard. I saw Dave's name and I said Dave. So yeah, good move there by John Ledger, which is he is one lap down. So I don't know if he's going to get the free pass. It looked like Pete Woodrum possibly got the free pass this last time by. We'll have to check that on the scoring pylon. But right now we have 18 cars on the lead lap, our second caution of the night.
So I will tell you a little bit of something interesting that happened while we were looking at that wreck. Harley Barletta, who was out in front, did not come in. He stayed out, but his drafting partner, Blake Giglio, came in on lap 45. Along with Ty Bostic, Evan Amick, Marco Barabee, a number of guys came in on lap 45. So now we've got an interesting dynamic.
Yes, we do. This is going to play an interesting role in how the end of this race is going to turn out, because if we do some rough math here, lap 45 means that you are going to come down pit road on roughly lap 69. And then from there, you're going to come down pit road on lap 93, and you're not going to have enough fuel to make it to the end. That's the issue. By purely those numbers, you're not going to be able to make it on gas without coming down another time around lap 117. So I actually like the move to stay out here. I mean, we didn't really have that many laps on that green flag run. There's enough drivers that stayed out that I believe they should be okay. But this poses a little bit of an issue for these drivers now, because it seems like, oh yeah, come down, get fuel. But running the numbers, it just doesn't really make any sense. I mean, it just doesn't really make much sense just by how the numbers are going to play out here.
We'll see, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to one of these drivers in our post-race interview and just ask them what are their thoughts. But again, it is a long race. We're just at lap 47. There's 74 plus laps to go. We've got about half the field that came down on this lap 45, 46 to get fuel. A few took tires, but most just topped off their tanks. and took fuel. However, there are approximately 5 cars: Harley Barletta, Joey Doucette, Christopher Howell, Mike Slagder, and Ian Ogden, who decided to stay out.
Yep, they did. And yes, 45 on YouTube, they do have a fast repair. And yes, he did make the highlight reel, so that's correct, Jerry. But as of right now, Rick, pace car is going to be making his way down to pit road. You can see him make that hard left-hand turn. Harley Barletta is out front in the Geico Research Zone. We are green flag racing here again at Daytona International Speedway. And a big just cluster of action going on right now between first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. But don't look too far back. I see 4 cars that look very similar to go. A little close there between the 14 and the 97. But I see 4 cars that look very similar right now, Rick, and those are the 1111 Project drivers in first, second, fourth, and what more than likely will be the tail end of the field with Blake, because he's stuck in the high line. We do have some people saying they are going to go down pit road this time. I believe Austin Armstrong is going to make his way down pit road from P18.
Oh.
Yep, that was, I believe, Pete Woodrum.
Yeah, we got Andrew Surwick, Mark Feeney, Austin Armstrong are all on pit road right now at, this is lap 49. That was the tail end of the lead lap. It's 3 wide, a little bit farther back in the field here for a second there.
Yeah, they were wide, and it's just still too early. We're not even halfway through laps away, and it's definitely really early to start making some crazy moves right now. We have a lot of cars in the back of this top line getting a little squirrely. Oh, a little pushing going on. Watch out, watch out, watch out. So we're wrecking. There it is. We are wrecking in turn 2. Cars in the wall.
Man, so that was definitely, and some follow-up wrecking as well with Jeff. Well, there's the big one.
This is the big one number 1 here tonight at Daytona. We have a lot to analyze here in this big one on lap 50, and we have a lot of upset drivers. That is all I can tell you over over the broadcast. But I mean, we have multiple wrecks going on here between multiple drivers. It all started in that top line where there was a big push.
Yeah, let's go back to Dan Withers and look behind him. I think he and the 91 of Previtt may have got together. Let's just kind of play this through here and see what we see. So Dan just definitely came down. And contacted. That's the 39.
That's a 99, I believe.
That's Marco
Berube. Yeah, I think he got a push from Brad Previtt, though, that got him a little upset. That's what I think sparked that entire wreck. That goes down. 91 gets into the 19 of John Ledger, which has yet to happen on screen, but it is going to happen. By the way, your free pass tonight is Freddie Durstock after that caution. So the 91 is going to come down and barely tag the 19. There goes Freddie Durstock through the middle. He's going to come by unscathed here, I believe, in this accident. And then we had a slew of cars involved in this one after that.
I'm trying to back up a little bit, see what we see here.
I think even go back further, Rick. We're going to have to go back a couple more drivers, even to John, way back before John Ledger. You can see just the track's kind of stopped right now. Here comes, I believe that's
David Watts.
David
And
Watson. Oh,
so David was basically slowing down, anticipating the wreck, and then I don't think Jeff Needy knew what was going on, and all of a sudden,
straight into the back of him.
oh,
And looks like we have a loss of connection there. Hard impact for the one, which then tags Kublai Salen there in the front end of that number
49.
49 machine. And you have the 52 getting involved. And you have the 16 getting involved. I mean, you just had carnage on the track with 10 plus cars. Wow.
Wow.
Well,
So
with 69 to go, Rick, we had the big one here tonight at Daytona, and my guess is that is not going to be the last wreck that we see here at Daytona. You know what the saying is: cautions breed cautions, and we've had two within the last 20 or two within the last 10 laps rather. So we'll see what happens now as we have takers down pit road. We didn't have takers, but as it stands right now, Harley Barletta is still your leader with Christopher Howell in P2. You have Joey Doucette, P3, Ian Ogden in P4, and Mike Slatker in P5 with 16 cars on the lead lap.
well, we always like to hope that wrecks like that are few and far between. That tends to impact the whole field. These guys do have a fast repair, which allows them to basically get back with a fresh car back on track. But you know what? After you've been through one of those, and even though you get your car repaired, you've got to now get your mind repaired to get back into the mindset of ready to go racing.
Exactly, and you know that's always the challenge here is once you are involved in that first accident, you have to use a quick repair early. You are always playing on the conservative side because you know if you get involved in anything, your car more than likely will not be up to par for the rest of the race. So we'll see if this produces some patience within some of these drivers. We'll see what happens. But I know, as at least for me, when I'm a driver, I have to use a quick repair early on in the race for what reason it may be. It always makes me a little bit more conservative in how I approach the track, so I don't have any other issues.
So we are here at lap 53 of 120. We've got a good bit of guys who top five who pitted on lap 35. Now, yes, we've had some caution laps here, and the lights are off there. These guys are about to go back to green flag racing with a lot of 1111 cars up front.
Yep, flagman's waving that green flag, and it looks like we have 11 project cars up in that high line. We are going to see how this strategy works out. They have reached each other. They have gotten there, and you have a move from Christopher Howell to the bottom side of his teammate, which I think I know what he's doing. I think he's going to kind of stack up that bottom to let his teammates go in front. Oh, on point there, Rick. I knew what Chris was doing. He was like, "Hey, I'm gonna."
Yeah, he backed him up.
Yeah, which is it's a fair move. I mean, you can't argue with that. But now the 1111 project drivers. Oh, we're wrecking again. That's Mark Feeney. That's a 99. That's a 67. We have cars going in pits. We have cars sliding through the track. Freddie Durstock is making his way through there, and it looks like he is all clean and green. But we have another accident here coming to lap 55.
Yep, that was Marco Barabi involved. We got Mark Feeney on pit road. Go back and just see what
happened. It looks like somebody got turned into the outside wall, and I believe that was Mark Feeney, the number 73.
All right, so let's we'll try to analyze this a bit for you, and you can watch along with us as we try to figure out just what happened. Again, we're following behind Mark Feeney in the 73. We believe that's where this started, and what you've got what looks like to be Pete Woodrum.
I think Pete thought he was clear.
Yep.
That is my guess. Is his spotter was like, all clear, all clear. No, you catch a little bit of that tail end, and you had nowhere to go for Dan Withers. He was just a product of unfortunate location there on the track.
Yep.
And one taker down pit road. Just want to say you have two of the four 1111 Project cars. You have Dan Withers there. You have the 99 getting spun. You have the 16 barely squeaking by the first car. Cars going everywhere. I have another car getting turned right there into the outside wall. It's 43. And look at Freddie. Look at Freddie there getting through there all clean.
Freddie, he's got a horseshoe in his back pocket. That's the second wreck that he drove through.
Yeah, let's see if we can ride on board with Freddie all the way back through this wreck at speed to see what he saw, because I think he had a good eye for everything that was happening on this wreck. So let's just see what he saw out of the front cockpit view of his number 5 Kellogg Chevrolet.
All right, we'll run this at race speed. We'll see what happens.
Very nice. Very nice, calm, cool, collected, kept it straight, and played his cards right there for Mr. Stock. So good move out of that number 5 driver. But unfortunate for a lot of these drivers, I think that we're going to have multiple cars that are going to be out of fast repairs due to this last incident. So we'll see how that plays out. But right now, 2 out of the 4 1111 Project drivers did go down pit road and get a tank of gas.
But Harley Barletta and Ian Ogden, Joey Doucette, and Mike Slagter, who are 1, 2, 3, 4, have not pitted since lap 35.
They have not. So this is going to be interesting to see how long they can stay out. I mean, I imagine they're going to have to come within the next 5 or 10 laps.
Well, yeah, because my math shows 24 laps.
Yep. 24 laps is the sweet spot.
So Blake Giglio is back on pit road.
Oh, wow. He's probably topping off, I would imagine.
Yeah, along with Christopher Howell as well.
Yeah, so that is a big group there that is coming down pit road for that 1111 Project team. So let's do some math here. Those 2 drivers, I'm going to say the majority of the field pit on lap 55. So let's say 55. Their second pit stop would come on lap 79. Their third pit stop would come on lap 103, which would take them to the end of the race. So this is kind of going back to that original strategy. Not quite the same, but somewhat of the same there, where these drivers would be coming down fairly consistently with about 15, 20 to go. So we'll see how they play out and how this fares out for those 1111 Project drivers. We know they know how to race, but they're going to be all the way at the tail end of the field here tonight. So 17 cars on the lead lap, 57 out of 120 done, just close to halfway done here tonight. And we'll see what happens on this restart. Look at Freddie Durstock there. He has made his way all the way up to P8 after avoiding that wreck. He got that free pass 2 cautions ago. So Freddie's looking good. Pete Woodrum is still up there. Ty Bostic is up there as well. Eric Olivia is up from 28th. So we'll see what happens on this restart, Rick. But we have the pace car going down there in the Geico restart zone, and we are going off again. Green flag racing here again at Daytona.
Harley Barletta jumps out to a good lead, and I think moved up to the outside lane. Well, I guess the only lane, moved back down to the lower lane to pick up his teammate. That's Ian Ogden in the 21.
Yep, that was a good move out of that team because they want to stay nose to tail as long as they can, so they prevent any other drivers from spoiling that 1111 Veteran Project tandem there. Everybody is kind of migrated back down to the bottom side of the track. is Freddie Durstock, who's all the way up in high lane. You have another car back up there that has made its way to the back end of that number 5 machine, but it looks like the 5 is going to duck back down.
I think that's Blake Giglio.
Yeah, I think that was Blake.
Yeah, he's got to work his way back through a lot of traffic to come back up to the front. That's for sure. Although I think he just picked up Christopher Howell behind him.
He did. He definitely did. So 2 teammates there that should be good to go on gas. So we'll see. Should be good to go on gas when it comes to the number of pit stops they have to make. So we'll see how this strategy plays out. But every single car in this field right now is on that bottom line here at Talladega. Not Talladega. Wow, Daytona. I don't know. It's one of those days, Rick. But as we see on the screen, you have the number 97 and the number 88 making the move around Freddie Durstock there, picking up another driver of there. I believe that is Evan Amick. Is that correct?
No, I think that is Ty Bostic.
Yep, Ty Bostic. And Blake is pushing the heck out of him and just leaves him out there to dry. Going 3 wide. They are not procrastinating at all, Rick. Those 1111 project drivers want to make their way through the field as we see. There goes Jeff.
Is that 4 wide? It was almost 4 wide there.
Yes, it was. And Rick, I don't want you to kind of stop and see what's going on up front, but we have a challenge potentially for the lead right now. That number 049 machine of Kublai Kalen is leading the top line with the broken, dismantled bottom line. Kublai cannot make up his mind right there where he wanted to go. But as this stands, we could have a pass for the lead with those 2 1111 project cars leading the top line. But I don't see their teammate. I don't see... Ian Ogden came down pit road, it looked like.
No. I think he fell back. Let's go back and see.
Where did that other 1111 project driver go?
I'm not sure.
I don't know where he went. He's gone on my side, Rick.
Interesting. All right, we'll check back and see just what just happens. May have been a technical issue as well.
Ian Ogden had a connection drop.
Well, we know exactly what that's all about here. In our broadcast booth, we had a early technical issue at the start of the broadcast. And
whoa, sorry, Rick, didn't mean to interrupt you, but got inside door of one of those 11 project drivers. But yes, we did have a technical difficulties. Continue what you're saying. Sorry, Rick.
We'll try to stay with this pack. There seems to be a lot of drama happening here as this group works their way towards the front.
And here comes a strong run there from the 2 1111 project drivers. Help their teammate up there, Harley Barletta. And we have some major action going right now on the track between those 4 drivers. We've got maybe a little bit of pushing going on in the corner. I don't know if I would recommend that, Rick. That was my key to the race. Don't want to push. But that inside line is being stacked up there by Harley, which is going to allow his teammates to get back to the front of this pack.
We saw that outside line trying to reform with the 049 car of Kublai. Not sure he's got the help he wants to try and...
Here comes Harley Barletta down pit road.
I think they had no choice. Those guys lap well.
Yep, that looks about right. 45, and it is lap 64. They went almost 20 laps? No, they pitted before that. They pitted on lap 35.
Had to be.
Yep.
We'll keep an eye on the clock right now.
Hey,
all right, that's a fuel-only stop.
Yes, it was. Definitely fuel-only for those drivers, and they're going to get all synced back up together as the leaders are now making their way out of turn 4 as we speak. So going back to Ian Ogden, I hate that for him. Was running well up front, but yeah, Rick, we did have some of those connection issues at the beginning of the broadcast, but we are here. We are broadcasting loud and clear. So we are good to go for the broadcast. 65 laps into this 120-lap event, brought to you by the 1111 Veteran Project, U-Haul, as well as Elite Performance.
Well, this group of 9 drivers has hooked themselves up nose to tail and are making their way. That's Blake Giglio, Christopher Howell, Kublai, Ty Bostic, Evan Amick, Sean Schupman, and I think that's Mark Feeney and Eric Olva. That's your top 8.
Yep, that is your top 8 here tonight.
I think go back into the second group. Oh, by himself, that's Freddie Durstock. He is definitely looking for some help.
Yeah, there is nobody in front of him, but there is a pack behind him that should be able to pick him up. So he should be okay there in P9. But we have a lot of action going back there in that second pack between the number 1, the number 43, you got 13 and the 9.
I'm not sure that's I guess, of course, Freddie's going by himself, so he's not got the speed, and he's got to kind of work his way back up to speed by catching the draft from this group. That's good for Freddie.
Almost had a little bit of action there between the 91 and the 1.
Yeah, weren't they? They may have been involved in that earlier.
I think they were.
Yeah. So you've got now the car shows as a 91. That may be the one on the board, but and that happens often, folks. You'll run a paint scheme and maybe your number doesn't match. That's something that you have to take care of within iRacing, but we see that occasionally here. But that's the one of Pete Woodrum and the car that's supposed to be behind him.
Yep, that should be Pete Woodrum and I believe.
I think that's Previtt. Oh, you know what? That's a lap car. That's Brad Previtt, who is in behind.
Yeah, yep, that's Brad. Okay.
That's what it is. Yep, behind Pete Woodrum.
Yep. Okay, yeah, we were trying to figure out who that was, and we couldn't figure it out. But yeah. So okay, cool. So as it stands right now, you have 16 drivers on the lead lap here tonight, approaching lap number 69 out of 120 in the IWM Daytona 300. And leading out front is Blake Giglio there with his teammate behind him in P2. That's Christopher Howell. Kublai Kalen, sorry if I mispronounced that, brother. He is in P3 and a number 49. Ty Bostic is in 4th. And Evan Amick making his way up to P5. One of the biggest movers of the race so far has been Sean Schupman there, coming all the way up 18 positions from 24th up to 6th. Second biggest mover or actually the biggest mover of the race, you have Eric Oliva right there. He is in P8 all the way up from 28th. So some of our biggest movers of the night. All the way up in the top 10. So that proves, it doesn't matter where you start here at Daytona. All that matters is where you finish here on the track. Because, track position is the thing, but obviously it's Daytona, it's a super speedway. Anything can happen. So looking back, we may have a re-entry by Ian Ogden. He is going to be 9 laps down, but it looks like he has reconnected and has gotten that car back up through the garage. So we'll see if we see that number 21 machine on the track.
All right, let's head back up front. And we've got still the 97 of Blake Giglio is now out front, followed by his teammate, Christopher Howell. Kublai is sitting in 3rd, and we're going to need a phonetic spelling for Kublai so we can figure that out.
Yeah, my time in school makes me want to say that is pronounced K or say. I think it may be Kalen.
Well, I know in talking
I don't know.
In talking with him last year, or last season, I believe it's a Turkish name. So while it has the English alphabet as best it's laid out there, it probably isn't even pronounced as it's spelled. So we'll get with Kublai and ask him to help us to figure that out, and we'll try to avoid that. I think we've only got a couple that we struggle with, and let's try to get that cleaned up by our next event.
Yes, we will, and we may be able to ask him if he keeps in that position, because we do interview the top 3 drivers, the podium finishers in every race of our season. So right now, that would be Blake, Christopher Howell, and Kublai there up in first, second, and third. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss the end of this race, the second half of this race, and obviously the last 5-10 laps, because we may be able to talk to your favorite driver over the radio.
So you saw that was the 21 car of Ian Ogden. He's made it back on the track. He's a few laps down, but he's going to hold it together, and I think he's going to tag on the tail end of that lead pack. So. So we got the lead pack coming up on some lap traffic here. That's the 99
and the 08 machine.
And the 08. They're working their way around lap traffic. That's always a challenge at these super speedways, is how you work your way around lap traffic and traffic that's running slower than you are. We do have Sean Schupman in the 37 is currently on pit road. He went in for, looks to be, is it just fuel?
Yeah, possibly.
Just fuel.
Yep, I would imagine so. But right now, you have a little bit of a breakaway between the top 3 right here within Blake, Christopher, and Kublai. So we will see how this plays out right now between those 3 drivers, because they are checking away from the rest of the field.
Well, the lead pack just kind of lost its draft. It broke apart into, the lead pack broke apart into 3 separate groups. You've got Ty Bostic and Evan Amick, and then Mark Feeney in the 73, Eric Olva, and Austin Armstrong broke apart. I guess that's actually Ian Ogden that's on the tail end there. Then you've got the 99, that's Marco Barabee behind him, and Ryan Pittman in the 08. That's trying to tag. They may hook back up together and push themselves back up, but how long, we can see those 3, they're extending their lead. They're now a full second nearly ahead of Bostic and Amick.
Yeah, they are, and this is going to definitely be an interesting issue, because as you see right there on the pylon, those numbers are slowly gradually increasing by the 10th every single lap. Now it's stabilized a little bit right now, but as you can see right there, as they go into the corner, they are losing time. So we'll see how this is going to play out now for these 3 drivers up at the top, with also catching some lap cars ahead of them. So we will see. But that second pack is bigger than those 3 drivers right there in the front. Even with that being said, they haven't really started to gain anything. So this front 3 are on rails right now, with 45 to go here tonight in the IWM Daytona 300.
Yeah, they've got approximately 2 seconds of a gap between Bostic, Amick, Feeney, and Olva in that group.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see, because the way that this is going to play out, if this keeps on going for the next 10, 15 laps, they're going to be checked out by a good 5-6 seconds. So with that being said, this could play a major role into how this second pack is able to catch back up to those lead cars. Because right now, I mean, they're all over the place. Rick, you have a car down at the bottom going on the pit road. You have 2 cars on the high side, multiple on the bottom side.
Well, I think Evan Amick had ducked out too. He is currently on pit road right now. There's other takers. I think it's just that time. You're seeing Evan Amick coming down pit road, Austin Armstrong, Dave Sharon is on pit road. There's a number of drivers who now are in for fuel.
Yep, and not too surprising to see that. So I want to make this note right now. Lap 78, that is 1 lap shy of what I thought they were going to need. So this makes them come back down with about 18 to 20 laps to go. And that would be their last pit stop of the race. So right now, these front runners now can make it on 2 more stops. So it's really just a matter of when they want to come down, because you got to pit twice. I would stay out as long as you can on this first one. Stay out as long as you can on that second one, and just make sure you stay with your teammates and stay with the people that have been working with you and a group, because if you're all by yourself, it's a very lonely racetrack on this 2.5 mile super speedway.
Well, pretty much the top 6 all pitted on between lap 54 and 56. So with that count, we should expect at 56 to see them in around lap 80.
Yep,
or now.
Yep, coming to lap 80.
Well, there we go.
Whoa, a little bit close call there between the Giglio and Kubele machine. But it looks like those drivers are on pit road, and the top 6 are all on pit road. We will see who's able to prevail right now and who has the better pit crew. Who has the better virtual pit crew tonight here at Daytona? Kubele has left his pit stall, so has Christopher, and so has Blake. Oh, getting a little sideways there, Blake. They're going to go side by side down, battling into turn. Someone's going to have to give.
Christopher
There
Howell.
they go. Yep, two teammates are now good to go. And Blake's kind of dirt tracking it there. He's trying to get as much out of this car as he can. He is yawing that thing out sideways. Got to be really careful on pit exit. You don't want to get a penalty.
Yeah, that seemed a little bit soon. a little close as they drifted up the track. We'll see how that all plays out.
But don't look too far back, Rick. You have a group of cars that is slowly approaching them. That is their teammate, their other 1111 project driver.
Did he hold him up? That's Harley Barletta on the outside.
That is Harley Barletta on the outside. We'll see. We'll see. Here we go.
I don't know. There's a little bit of gamesmanship happening here.
Will the 81 drop down to pick up his teammates?
Well, there's 2 1111 cars in that pack. So all 4 of them are there.
And it looks like they did not pick their teammates up. Very interesting.
Well, I think that was just going to...
Oh, I know what happened. They waited for the number 19 machine.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, that number 19 machine, he has a clean car, a green car, still 11 laps down here in tonight's race, or now 10 laps down. But he is still part of that 11-11 team.
Well, you're looking at the current leaders right now. That's Harley Barletta is leading. Joey Doucette is back up to second. Mike Slagter is in third. Blake Giglio is in fourth. Christopher Howell in fifth. Kubele in sixth. Ty Bostic is in seventh. Mark Feeney in eighth. Eric Ova is in ninth. And Austin Armstrong is in 10th.
In P11, you have the number 37 machine of Sean Hoopman. In P12, David Sharon. P13, Freddie Durstock. In 14th, you have Pete Woodrum. And that is your lead lap field here tonight. Everybody else is 1 lap down. And the drivers that are 1 lap down is Marco Berube, Bradley Previtt, Andrew Sherwick, and Evan Amick.
So we've got this lead pack coming up on some traffic. That looks to be Jeff Nini. And I'm not sure who's up there with Jeff. That freight train of that lead pack either, so.
And there they go. Back to the front, Harley Barletta. Started on P1, is P1. Number one and the number of laps led. Number one in our hearts. I'm joking. I mean, he's a good driver. He is number one in my heart right now. But anyways, I was just messing around. He is putting on a show here, like as they go down pit. And look who followed with him, his teammate. John, whoa, watch out, guys. I would assume there could be some speeding penalties, Rick.
There's a good chance.
There's a good chance. I don't see any. I don't see explicit comments coming over the radio, so they may be good.
Hey, John, we've got a bit of weather here. I'm not sure how our stream will survive. We're hoping it will. We'll see how it goes and hope it comes back.
Yeah, hope it should be good. Looks good on my end, Rick. I have up on my side, and it looks like we are good to rock and roll. It does look like we had some pit road speeding penalties, Rick, for Harley Barletta. Unfortunate there for the number. Gosh, hate to see that for the number 81 machine.
Yep, he's serving a 40-second pit stop. Halt on that for speeding, I guess.
Yep, and that is going to play a major factor in how this race progresses. And he almost spins it out coming out of pit road. I know he is frustrated right now because he was one of the best cars here tonight.
Well, we're back up front with Christopher Howell and Blake Giglio running 1 and 2.
So the second set of 11-11 drivers are P1 and P2. So that is something that I thought was going to factor here tonight in how this race is going to play out. The splitting of the teammates. We saw them all join together at one point in time, but when Ian Ogden's connection went out and there were some major issues there, that's when you saw the issues for the 11-11 team start to arise. Now with Harley Barletta be going one lap down, he is going to have to fight back to be able to get back on the lead lap here in the race. So we'll see how this plays out for these drivers as we are approaching lap 88, 32 to go in the IWM Daytona 300. Brought to you by the 1111 Veteran Project, U-Haul, and Elite Performance. We're riding on board with Christopher Howell there. A great shot as he is looking alongside his teammate, is going to move up the track, and seeing some lap down cars, I believe, fighting on the bottom there. That's the number 77 and the number 1.
That is correct. Now we've got 11 cars left on the lead lap, but there's a lot of this field is completely broken apart. Where we had large groups running together, we're not seeing that. We're going to bring up the track map, which should give us a kind of an overview of what's happening on track here at Daytona. You can see that we've got a lot of cars spread out all over this track.
Yeah, and it's something that you really don't see too much at super speedways unless you have some major issues going on, whether that is pit road speeding penalties, whether that is differentiating strategies. But to have really 3 distinct groups of cars, pretty interesting to see here at Talladega, or not Talladega, God, said it again, but pretty interesting to see here at Daytona. It's not typical at all.
Well, as Blake Giglio and Christopher Howell swapped positions a bit as they work their way through some lap traffic, they've got a few more cars to work through ahead of them. That's a teammate of theirs. That's the 19 of John Ledger. They're about to run up on.
Yeah, and just no match there for the number 9. Oh, One car is way out of shape.
Yeah, well, that's Freddie Durstock now, who's tucked in behind the leaders right there, and then followed by some more lap traffic. That's Evan Amick and Jeff Nini.
There's another lap car that's going to be going a lap down, and that is the number 11. Whoa!
Ooh. Definitely some slicing and dicing as they're going back up through the field.
Just a little bit, I would have to say. But that was the number 11 machine of Joey Doucette, which is going to put 9 cars on the lead lap. And here comes a run from the one car getting loose. One car gets in the 11. Don't know if that's going to bring out a caution. It looks like we are going to stay green.
Don't stop. He stopped.
He stopped, but there's no caution. He's on the bottom side of the track. If he can get that number 1 machine turned around, we are going to stay green. Green flag racing resumes here at Daytona. Yeah, he got into the number 11 car. Came right down into the front bumper of him.
Oh.
I mean, neither of them hit anything, but that's just very lucky because that's one of the worst places to wreck in the tri-oval or on exit of tri-oval, but still just not a good situation for either driver there, but they both did come unscathed outside of the damage to on impact. But it looks like right now we're down to 9 cars on the lead lap. We are about to be 8 cars on the lead lap because David Sharon is going to be the next victim of this pack approaching him here very soon. But as it looks right now, Rick, those 4 cars behind the leaders, those are not lead lap cars. Those are all 1 lap down cars, except for John Ledger there. John Ledger is the only car in that group that is not 1 lap down. He is 10 laps down. My bad, he is 21 laps down. I correct myself. He is 21 laps down, but that is going to pose a threat for the number 1 because he is also 1 lap down, and it's also not really going to play much of a factor into the other car in that pack. So it's really just a battle between the 5 and the 1 car right now. If a caution comes out right now, Freddie Durstock in I'm going to call it P3. Third line is going to get the free pass. So Freddie's going to try to keep behind these drivers as much as he can.
That's the best place for him to be. That's his best reward for the risk he's taking of hanging up there with these guys.
Yep, and it looks like we're going to be approaching another 2 cars right now that are going to be going probably multiple laps down. That is, can't see from out of the front windshield there, Freddie or Blake. We'll have to wait till those cars start to pass. I believe that is the number 81 machine of Harley Barletta and the number 99 machine of Marco Berube. They're going to stay to the bottom side of the track. Let these leaders on by.
I think they're going to probably pick them up or...
Freddie got into the second place car right there. No,
he got into the 81, Harley Barletta.
Yeah. I get confused with all of these cars that look the same there, Rick. They're all same paint scheme, different color. But Fred Durstock did get into the side there of one of those 1111 Project cars. So now it looks like a Freddie sandwich between him and the 4 1111 Project drivers.
Yep. Looks like there is some going in the back there with that other 1111 car.
Yeah, it looks like he just can't really keep up. I mean, he was keeping up to speed fairly well, but he can't really on that draft. So once again, all the 1111 Project drivers together, but some of them are obviously multiple laps down with looking at the scoring pylon, trying to find him.
Yeah, 2 laps down, Harley Barletta.
Harley Barletta, yep.
Yep. John Ledger's 21 laps down. So.
Yeah, so it's going to be an uphill battle for Harley. He has to have some help from the rest of the field to potentially get his laps back. He'll have to get a wave around and then fight for that last lap. But Rick, the time has come. We are approaching 24 to go. They are now within the fuel window. Who's going to come down pit road and win? These drivers, they know they have to come down pit road soon. Will they come down now? Will they come down 3 laps from now? My prediction is in about 7 laps that these leaders will come down. Well, these 2 leaders will come down pit road. But we will see what happens here tonight at Daytona.
Well, I mean, pretty much the top 4, Blake, Christopher Howell, Kublai, Eric Olva, they all pitted on lap 79.
Yep, so they should be coming down about lap 103, which will be around 5 to 6 laps from now. So we'll see what happens here with those 4 drivers. But it looks like right now, as it stands, I mean, Freddie
Durstock.
Oh, yeah, that
All right, well, he's got it back underway.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. No caution. 23 laps to go. Now these leaders again, as we said earlier, came down around lap 80. 24 is the magic number, approximately per fuel for each. So that puts you at what, lap 103 or so.
Yep, 103. That's my prediction.
Go.
we literally were thinking the same thing, Rick. Let's say it together.
22 laps to go.
Yeah,
about to be 21.
Yep, and we have still Blake and Mr. Howell there out front, and we are projecting them to come down pit road in the next 4 laps. So we will see how that plays out here tonight at Daytona. They are clearly out front. I mean, they are the 2 front runners without a doubt, because the rest of the field is about 16 seconds on back.
So what you've got is just 8 cars left on the lead lap. Dave Sharon is currently showing an 8th, but he has now chosen to pit. So that's going to cycle him back a bit. Ty Bostic is in 7th, Mark Feeney in 6th, Austin Armstrong in 5th, Eric Olva in 4th, Kublai in 3rd, Christopher Howell in 2nd, and Blake Giglio is showing us the lead.
And something interesting that I'm noticing is that that second group of cars is they were slightly catching the first group. Now, not by a lot, but it was 17 seconds.
Yep, we've got some takers on pit road. That's the 4th place car of Kublai is now on 2nd, and Eric Olva is now on pit road.
Yeah, we have a lot of takers coming down pit road right now. That second to short pit this field. I don't know what Ty Bostic is doing. Ty Bostic completely misses. He better be careful backing up. iRacing will flag you for that. So let's hope he did not get flagged. But as that stands, this is almost going to put the race into the hands of Blake and Christopher Howell, barring something catastrophic between those 2 drivers. They are clearly going to be, unless I say something catastrophic happens or we have a caution, they are going to be over 20 seconds ahead of this field. Or 3rd place, I guess.
Yep. So Austin Armstrong is currently on pit road. So really, we'll start to see the other stragglers. Joey Doucette, Sean Shipman will come in.
And
here they come.
The two leaders making their way down pit road. Oh, and the 88 actually beat Blake on. This is a battle of the teammates to see who's... Blake was second here, or he was fourth rather, and Chris Powell was in eighth. So actually, that was a good positioning there.
We got tires being changed.
Left side tires being put on, and there goes Chris, and there goes Blake. So Chris definitely had the quicker stop now. I mean, they got to back up. This is the only thing that I think could hinder their strategy. They need to get linked up as quickly as possible, and here is the 88. He looks like he is checking up just slightly, I believe, for the number 97.
I think they had nearly a full minute to spare.
Yeah, they had quite a bit of time to get on pit road, to get off pit road, and as it shows right now, yeah, you can see that ticker starting to go down. I was predicting a little over 20 seconds, and right now it is just at. So as it stands right now, your front two are going to keep the lead with 18 laps to go. Oh, there goes Blake to the high side. He's like, hey, Chris, I'm going to pass you. And that's a good move. You want to know why? Because it's going to be hard to pass. But you know what? This could turn into these guys doing this for the rest of the race. Second guy gets a run, goes around him. And I think I may be correct here. Look at this. I was slightly joking, but this could be just a run between these two drivers as this race goes on. Now, if they go side by side, they can't run side by side for this entire track and stay there. So your two 11-11 project drivers out front, side by side.
That was Kuboy Ceylon just through the grass, through the pits.
Stay in pit road there, number 049. Wow, that could have really altered this race there, Rick.
It should. It could have tightened the field back up, but no. He went through the grass, found this pit. Hopefully he's going to change his tires. He's going to get probably a 40-second hold on that.
Oh, I would imagine so. How couldn't he? Right now, there is about 16 laps to go, but Rick, there is something very interesting happen with that third place driver. I've been watching his lap times. He has been consistently 1 second faster every lap than these two leaders have been. It is now down to a 14-second lead.
With 15 laps to go.
With 15 laps to go. Now, I'm predicting things because sometimes I'm wrong.
I saw a crash by Marco Barabee. Oh, he splits the leaders.
He hooked the leaders. The leaders are wrecked.
Whoa, we need to go back and take a look at that.
That was absolutely horrendous. He just stopped on the track there, Rick.
Yep, there's something going on here. Let's just try to figure out.
So there was a wreck.
So it's like he was coming off of pit road.
Yeah, the 99 was coming off of pit road, and well, let's just watch this on through.
He's accelerating. Leaders are about to come up on him.
Now, leaders are coming up here in a minute. I think he spun out first.
Yeah, pretty much where that apron meets. He lost it. Came up.
Collected that car. Surprised there was no caution right here. Kept it down the bottom of the track, but then just completely came back up the track in front of the leaders.
who miraculously
missed it.
missed it.
We have to ride on board of Blake Giglio's machine because I think he had a heart attack coming out of turn 2. Wow, what an insane turn of events here at Daytona. Yeah,
All right, I know we got it. Okay, here we go.
Whoa!
Great reaction. He may have scrubbed the wall a little bit there, probably just catching his breath from that bit of craziness.
I am just amazed that he did not miss that, or he did not tag that car a little bit. But the fact that he was able to miss that machine is just phenomenal. I mean, it was just crazy driving. Just crazy good driving out of that number 97 to be able to miss it, because I don't really think he knew he was there. But going back to the broadcast, the main show that's going on, we have 97 is all clean and green. He did have to use that fast repair, but it looks like they are all good to go on pit road. Everything is good on gas. But right now, Rick, we have 7 cars on the lead lap battling for a win. You know how many of those drivers are brand new to this league, Rick? 5. 5 out of the 7 are new. Howell and Giglio are not. And could this produce a first-time winner in this series? I mean, this is becoming a very interesting race, because these drivers are all new besides Chris and Blake. So we may see a first-time winner here in the IWM Cup Series.
So from our perspective, we see Chris Howell in first. 7, you've got Austin, Armstrong, Eric Ova, and then Blake is sitting in 4th. So can they get back together? Sure, of course. But then you've also got Sean Shootman sitting back here in 5th. Joey Doucette is in 6th, and Dave Sharon is in 7th position. So lights are out on the top of the pace car. We'll see how this all shakes out, but this could be very interesting, these next 12 laps. And as you had said earlier, cautions do breed caution, especially on a super speedway with about 11 laps to go. It could be a very wild finish. I hope you saved enough fuel for a green-white checker, because you're going to need it.
Oh, you definitely will need it, especially as this race has gone on, the craziness that has unfolded here tonight at Daytona. But let's just hope that they can all keep it clean, green, and let's get this show on the road. They're about halfway down the back.
Here's an interesting nugget for you. Those guys who are Ty Bostic, Mark Feeney, those guys last pitted on lap 100, so they may be, if this does go green-white checker, those guys may be struggling. Brad Previtt, lap 98. Evan Amick, lap 100. So there's some guys who are hoping this just stays green for the rest of this race.
Absolutely they are, and this is going to be very interesting to see who is maybe able to prevail here at Daytona. But as it stands, Christopher Howell, your previous champion, your reigning champion here in the iRacing Warriors Motorsportz Cup Series, is leading your field around, coming to 11 to go at Daytona. Rick, this is going to be a wild one. I could already feel it. Pace car makes his way down pit road.
Restart zone. He's off.
We're off. Green flag racing with 11 laps to go here at Daytona. And we already have a lot of jockeying for positions. Those two 11-11 project drivers trying to get together. But that number 18 or number 13 machine of Austin Armstrong is not going to let that happen. If I was these drivers, I'm not trying to plot against these 11-11 teams, but I would try to separate those two cars, because we know they're going to be fast. There goes Christopher Howell to the outside to pick up his team. And what that's going to do is that's going to push, huge push there from Bradley Previtt in the high line.
Low line is hoping to form back up and keep that low groove competitive. This high line is now solidly formed up and is making its way. Oh, and look, they've moved back down. They were clear, and they moved down, abandoning the 91, which got them there.
Yeah, the 91 is 2 laps down, so he is not a part of the front 7 that are on the lead lap. But right now, as it stands, Christopher Howell is your leader, followed by Blake Giglio, Austin Armstrong in the 13, Eric Oliva in the 52, Sean Shootman in the 37, and Joey Doucette in the 11, and David Sharon in the number 9. So pay attention to those drivers. Those are the cars that you want to watch as these laps wind down.
We have 10 laps to go. Oh, a little bit of contact back there in the field. Looks like Mark Feeney.
Yep, they're keeping it clean, keeping it off each other. A lot of jock. Stay straight. 9 to go at Daytona.
Yeah, that was a 73 of Mark Feeney that was dicing in and out. We'll drop back a little bit and just see what's happening with further back here in the field. So a little bit of contact.
Just a tad of contact. But as it stands right now, we have a run by the number 13 to the 52. They're going to challenge those two 11-11 project drivers. Behind him, there you have more cars. That is the number 43 machine giving the 52 a shove. That's the number 73 machine giving them a shove. This is not going to fare well if they push in the corners, Rick. I have a little bit of a worry now with that high line. Yeah, they have the run. We are 3 wide off the corner.
Oh, wrecking.
We're wrecking everywhere. Leaders are somehow kept it straight. Wow. I said we're wrecking everywhere because I just assumed that leader was going around me.
Yeah, that was Harley Barletta, I think, that was caught up in that. Let's try to see what happened here. So it looks like there was a strong move by those 11-11 cars. Let's try to get a far chase shot on this and just see what we see. So again, you got the 91 car on the outside. It's like the 81 moved up, but he was not clear and forces it to be 3 wide. That's
yeah, they kept it 3 wide, but that 91 just almost looks like it made a hard left-hand turn, Rick.
Yeah, I think he was just coming. Let's just look at it again here.
Almost like overcorrected, probably. I mean, that back end looks to be a little out of shape there. So he overcorrects, come back down into that,
the 81.
The Harley. He had a Harley, collects the 77 as well. But up front, you had almost a big one as well. You had the number 13 machine getting turned into your leader, Christopher Howell. So we need to go and take a look at that. That hard pushing by the number 52 there was the product of that.
Let's watch this. 13 is getting an off-center bump by the 52.
I mean, that's not even an off-center bump. I mean, that's just a pure left rear, I mean, almost quarter panel bump, which is hard to do. But, I mean, fantastic driving by this field, this front 7, for not wrecking. I mean, that is just phenomenal. I mean, you had an amazing save there by the 43 machine. But what phenomenal driving to not make that any worse than it was.
How much damage, though, does Christopher Howell have? I don't know. He got doored pretty good.
Yeah, it looks like I'm looking at his machine right now. It definitely looks like it's crinkled in just a little bit. And has some right rear damage as well. So we'll see how that 88 car field here tonight. But it's going to be interesting to see what he's able to do if the car is in fact damaged.
All right, we have 7 laps to go.
7 to go, and I don't believe we are going to get a green-white checkered this time by, reasoning because we have 7 laps to go. So this looks like this could potentially be a 5-lap shootout to the end. Now with 8 cars on the lead lap. One of those cars that got his lap back, Ty Bostic, 22 machine. been caught up in some accident side. Is he going to be able to prevail? Or maybe it's David Sharon. Maybe it's Joey Doucette. Who knows? Maybe it's Christopher Howell. He'll come out with a win.
Yeah, he's definitely got a little bit of damage on that right side. Not terrible. His nose is chewed up a little bit, but we'll have to see how that goes. Lights are off on top of the pace car with 6 laps here to go at Daytona.
Yeah, this is going to be a wild one, Rick. I think that this is going to be probably one of the crazier starts because you now have those two 11-11 project drivers side by side. So somebody's going to have to make a move. Now, here comes the 13 machine.
So Ty Bostic, just so you know, is back in the pits. I think he had a fuel issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's okay because it's going to be a little bit of a challenge making his way back up through the field, but he should be all right to return. Now we have the number 9 car on the bottom side right there getting all filed in. So Jerry says, or the 45 on YouTube says, let's go Sharon. Jerry's also cheering on.
Yep, Dave Sharon is in 7th.
Yep. So what a win that could be for the number 9 machine there of Dave Sharon. So we'll see what happens as we are now going into turn 3, 5 laps to go. I wish we could cue some like AC/DC or some Metallica Enter Sandman here, because I feel like this is going to get pretty wild as the field makes their way off of turn 4.
Well, we're about to go back to green. Here we go. Lights are off. We're about to drop off with the pace car. Whoa. Gosh, our car at 52 was blinking. Yeah.
Yep. Not the time you want to do that.
No,
but
that's
the time
Eric.
to press on the gas pedal. Green flag racing again at Daytona, and your leaders, just like they've been doing all race long, sync back up together. And it looks like that's
a good push.
Yeah, good push right now from that teammate there, and it looks like that bottom line is tight, packed together. Yes, the 11 car can't fight for the win. So can the 52.
Whoa, it's going to be. No, 13 was hooked.
Oh, big wreck in the back. Big one, number 2. Cars all over the place. Cars in the infield. That's Ty Bostic. Everybody who's watching now, you are getting a show put on for you, especially on YouTube. So shout out to everybody watching along with this race. There is Jeff.
Let's go back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of action happening. Hang on, let's try to.
I mean, you just had so much going on. You had a 13 originally getting turned into the 43 machine. And Rick, I think that's a product of my second key to the race. Pay attention to pushing in corners.
I completely agree. Let's try to get a far shot and just. I don't know if we're going to capture everything with this shot, but if we have to back up, we'll back up. So let's see what we got. So we are in the corner coming onto the backstretch at Daytona. Right now, this is not the place to push, but there's a good chance you're going to get a run off too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100% you're good, especially on that high line. You're going to get a run. I don't think the 13 was expecting it. Definitely got him out of shape, and that got him back into the 43 machine.
Well, I think the 43 had a pretty good run, and when he should have maybe lifted a bit, he ended up hooking the 13.
Possibly, yeah, but I mean it's 5 to go right there. 13 gets up tagged in the wall. 19 gets in. Everybody just stacks up accordion. 19 hooks the 9 in the right rear. They're going 4 wide. 9 gets into the 43 car. That produces a roadblock. 1 goes high. There's a 14 getting involved. No room for the 1 machine. No room there for anybody. The 1 car that I think was able to squeak out of this okay was maybe Harley Barletta. Did he get tagged
Did Freddie Dursock drive again through that?
I don't know.
We
got to go on board with this number 5 machine. I don't know who he's. We got a little contact, but I think it was. Obviously, to be where he was and to not get as much contact as I thought he was going to get. Little contact there, but kept it straight.
Yeah. He squared up squarely with the He squared up with Mike Slagter in the 14, but made it through.
Could be okay. You know, Rick, he is actually showing the first car a lap down. Is Freddie Durstock going to get his lap back? We will see. We will see right now as this field goes by. But that was definitely big one, number 2 here tonight with 3 to go. We are going to get a green-white checkered here tonight in the IWM Daytona 300. So don't go anywhere if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or wherever you may be watching right now. This is getting down to the nitty-gritty here. But right now, your top 3, Christopher Howell, Blake Giglio, Joey Doucette, is your podium finishers as of right now. But obviously, we have a lot of action to go.
So, Freddie was blinking there a second ago, but I show him, first car on the lead lap. He should get a wave around.
Yeah, he should, unless...
Well, because he was involved in an accident, will he get the wave around?
I don't think he will. Yep, I think he is going to be unlucky circumstances, which it happens. He had damage on that last caution, so what iRacing does is they say, hey, if you're involved, you're 1 lap down. We can't give you that free pass, even though if you were ahead of those drivers. So right now, as it stands, in the bottom lane, you have Christopher Howell in the top lane. You have Blake Giglio in the bottom lane in the number 11 car. You have the number 11, Joey, you said in the high lane, the number 52 there in that pink machine. That is Eric Oliva. In the 37, you have Sean Shootman. And then Austin Armstrong there into 13. That is your top 6, your 6 cars on the lead lap. So you have a battle with the first 3 rows here essentially tonight.
So our 7th caution of the night, I hope that is our last, and we will finish here with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, and just making a correction, I don't see Austin Armstrong on the scoring pylon, so it may be a battle between the top 5 drivers now.
Yeah, so there's only the top 5. Right now, Austin, he's in the pits.
Yep, so your battle tonight is between the 2 11-11 Project drivers, Joey Doucette, Eric Oliva, and Sean Shootman, as we're now approaching our first attempt. Technically, is this a green-white checkered?
No,
it's not. It's not. So this is 3 laps to go. Green flag racing here at Daytona checkered.
We just need to make it around cleanly.
Yes, we do. Right now, your top 5 drivers are making their way around. There's to the 50, goes to the outside, but that 11-11 Project car is not going to go with them. But right now, you have Joey Doucette pushing Christopher Howell around. Blake Giglio goes to the high side to block the run of the 52, goes back down to the bottom side. Just completely stalls out that high lane. I mean, he just completely ruined their run as we are approaching 1 lap to go tonight.
Final lap.
White flag. This race will be final under the net flag.
Regardless of what happens.
Regardless of what happens, we have a 3-car breakaway between Joey Doucette, Blake Giglio. Christopher Howell is leading to the point.
There's a little. It's tight.
Comes the 52. Here comes the 52. We're wrecking on the backstretch. Doesn't matter. 52 is at the high side. Christopher Howell goes to block. His team behind him there. Going to give him the shove. Here comes the 52 now to P3. Blake Giglio goes to the high side.
To block. They wrecked them all.
They're wrecking. All of them were involved. Who's going to win the race? I don't know.
I don't know who makes it through.
Who's going to be the first in line?
The 11 car. Joey Doucette? No. He's
wrecking. The 11 car.
The 11 car.
Joey Doucette is going to win tonight at Daytona.
Oh my gosh, what a finish.
Wow. And Christopher Howell yawing his car sideways makes it across. I am in ultimate utter shock. Wow.
I don't know. Do we need to go back and look at that? Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do. I mean, if we don't, I'll be in that. But that was wow, just wow. I don't think we've ever had a finish where the entire field got into it, coming to the line, Rick. We've had it very close, but that was the entire field.
All right, we're going to try and back this up a bit. There's a lot of carnage, as you can see, a lot of things. All right, I guess
we start with, let's just start with, the run by the number 97. I mean, that's where it really all started here tonight. I mean, just unbelievable what we just saw.
So he's right in the tail of the 11. He is tight to his.
Yep, this is actually coming out of turn 2. Going to the backstretch.
We saw some contact that caused the 21 to go down.
Yeah, there's the first wreck right there between the 16 and the 99.
Yep. So that's happening behind the leaders.
Yeah, and the 52 machine was giving a heck of a push to Blake, which got him up to his teammate.
Who then moved up, leaving the 11 behind to try and pick Blake back up. And he's getting a big push.
Yeah, I mean, Blake is giving his teammate, a push for the century.
They slides up to try and shut down that outside line of no run. And in doing so, there's contact. So let's go back and get a far chase here. And I think it was just accidental contact between Blake and Christopher Howell.
Yeah, but between the teammates, and Christopher trying to push that car up the track, and they just collected, which is going to then come back down to the 52
and the 81, which is another 11-11 car.
And then there's the 11 car all behind all of the wrecking. That. And the 11 car was able to. He was involved in this too. So
yeah, he
was involved.
Oh yeah, it's a sandwich. The 97's nearly upside down.
The 21 is getting into the left rear. The 14, 52 is sideways. Both teammates right there in front of the 11 are all together. So let's this play out and see what happens with the 11. They are all turned around. I mean, the 11 car is the only keep it somewhat straight. Now, right there, it looks like that Christopher Howell is able to do okay, but he gets tagged again. There goes the 91 up into the wall, gets into the 52 machine. 11 sliding through the grass as the one car is going sideways right in front of the 11.
That's the 81 of Harley Barletta. There.
And the 11 up high. I guess you want to consider that high. He's on the apron. and it looks all beautiful. I mean, look at that clean track. Nobody in front of him.
Yeah.
I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. And here comes the 08 machine, who is not racing for the win. 11 almost loses it, avoiding him. Gets in the grass. And was able to come across the line in P1. What a race.
Jeez. All right.
Jerry says, if this was a poker game, I would say glad this race was just unpredictable as it is. So let's get through your running order before we dive into and get the top three up here. Joey Doucette wins this race with only 3 cars left on the lead lap. That is followed by Eric Oliva and Christopher Howell somehow making it back to P3. Blake Giglio finishes in 4th. Sean Schubin in 5th. Ryan Piven in 6th. Harley Barletta in 7th. Freddie Durstock made his all the way back up to get a top 10 finish in 8th. Mike Slatker in 9th. Pete Woodrum rounds out your top 10.
All right, so I think we've got a few folks already in the waiting room. Let's bring in Chris Howell, our third place driver. Chris Howell, you survived.
I did.
Oh my gosh.
What a final 3 laps. I just want to run through, what you were thinking going into turn 3 on the last lap. Your teammate was battling with you right there. Give me a rundown of that last corner.
So, we're in team chat on that last restart, and there was a whole bunch of debating going on because 3 of us are all fighting for first, second, and third, for the lead. And I was just like, hey, let's just all get to the white flag. Once we're to the white flag, gloves are off, which that's what we did. We got to the white flag. But I noticed when we were going into 1 and coming around 2, Joey started backing up, and I can see he's trying to back up and get a run with the car behind him. And all of a sudden, Blake just comes out of nowhere. I don't know where that run came from for him, but I had to leave Joey and get in front of him and stick with Blake. And then he got around me, and I tried to side draft him. I just got a little too close and took the whole field out. But it's Daytona. What can you do?
Yeah, well, what can you do? I mean, it was we didn't know who was going to win the race. I mean, it's just wild.
I know one thing is, like, if that one caution didn't happen, where the guy spun off of 2 coming out of pits, it probably would have went green to the end.
Probably,
and it would have probably just been a 2-car battle between me and Blake, because we were, I think, 17 seconds ahead of third.
Yeah, at that point in time, it was after I think pits. Y'all selves, it was 15 to go. I think you had 15 or 15 seconds right there. Yeah. But it was definitely unexpected. I was impressed Blake was able to miss that car. We watched it on the replay, and it was as close as you could get to missing there. But shout out to you for finishing third in a wild race. Wild race to the finish. One of the most exciting finishes that I think Rick and I have ever been a part of.
That was crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. So, any shout outs you want to give tonight after tonight's race?
Yeah, of course. I want to thank my sponsors on the car, 1111 Veteran Project and Racing for Heroes, and my teammates at Average Joe Motorsports, Blake, Ian, John, Harley, and Joey. And we got another winner this week, so that's 2 in a row for AJM Motorsports. So hopefully we can keep up the momentum and get some more cars locked into the playoffs. We got 2 in there so far. So.
All right. Thanks again. That's your third place finisher, Christopher Howell.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
All right. So let's bring in our second place finisher. Eric, welcome to the broadcast booth. That was a wild finish.
Hey, thanks. What's going on, guys?
Well, tell us a little bit about what you saw. Of course, we were probably just as surprised as we were to see how that last 3 laps finished up.
I was just trying to keep up with the top 3 at the end of it, and then it looked like I had a run. And then I tried to hit the bottom because I just assumed they were going to battle it out, and I just wanted to have any clear space. It didn't work out at the end.
Well, there's a lot happening in front of you for sure. So.
Yeah, but able to come all the way up from P28 is a pretty good race to finish in P2. So give me just a little bit of rundown of your race. I mean, start all the way in the back, super speedway. Anybody can win from anywhere, but coming all the way up through the field, avoiding wrecks and being able to finish P2, definitely a lot of skill. So kudos to you. But give us a rundown of your race.
Yeah, I just tried to. I mean, honestly, it is a super speedway, so I tried to stay out of the big ones early and just keep my tires clean and the body work clean, and that seemed to pay off.
Well, you did a great job of that. So, you got 26 better positions. You started 28th in this race, back up, finishing second. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, I have a lot of practice starting in the back because of IndyCar.
Got it. Well, that definitely showed tonight. Any shout outs you want to give tonight? Any thanks you want to give anybody?
Thank my teammates, everybody on Apollo Racing Club, the ones that helped me out, pushing me, trying to get the entire team up there, but stuff happens.
Well, congratulations. That's your second place finisher, Eric. Is it Olva or Olivia? How do you say your last name?
Oliva.
Oliva. You got it.
Eric Oliva. Got it.
All right. Thanks again.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you. All right. And so now we'll bring in Joey Doucette. I'm pretty sure we got that last name right, but we'll double check. Joey, welcome to the broadcast booth. That's a heck of a finish. Congratulations.
I appreciate it, fellas. I really do.
Yeah, let's go ahead, Rick.
I was gonna say you survived a finish that we weren't expecting, so that was a heck of a way to take that checker.
I wasn't expecting it either. Once Chris went up with Blake, and then the 52, it was just a train. I fell back, and then the 97 and the 88 got together and had that melee, and I had nowhere to go. And all I was thinking was just try to keep it straight. If the car can make it to the finish line, let it make it to the finish line. And thank God it did.
Yeah, after looking at the replay, we analyzed. I would.
Oh, John, your mic kicked out for a second.
Oh, wow. Yeah, my mic did cut out. I didn't notice that. As I was saying, though, looking back at that finish, we were trying to figure out who was going to come out on top. So I would highly recommend, if you haven't already, go back and watch that replay. But run through us your mind as you're coming to the checkered flag. You see nobody in front of you after you just saw mayhem unfold. We didn't know what was going to happen. Did you think you were even going to be able to pull off that win?
No, I thought that blue car, I don't know who it was on the lead lap. And I'm like, and I went up the block, and then I looked at my relative real quick, and I saw that he was a lap down, so I just let him go. And I'm like, well, nobody's around me now, so my heart was just racing because I thought that blue car was on the lead lap. I'm like, oh my goodness, no. But I mean, I was happy with the top five.
Yeah, I mean, there was 7 cars, or really 5 cars on the lead lap coming on that last restart, and we knew it was going to be wild, and we didn't think that it was going to be that wild. But I gotta say, you kept it straight. That was one of the things I mentioned when looking at the replay. You were one of the only cars that was able to keep their car moving forward through all that mayhem. So shout out to you. Shout out to that 11 team for getting it done tonight. Anybody you want to give thanks to or give a shout out to tonight?
11 and 11. Great organization over there. Racing for Heroes, Average Joes, my teammates, Blake, Chris, Harley, John, Ian, you guys, iRacing, Warriors Motorsportz. I mean, I'm new here. I didn't think this was going to come this early. I asked Chris about it. I saw Chris race a couple of races last year, and I was like, well, if he's having fun over here, maybe I can have some fun over here. And that's all it's all about. And my teammates had this plan, is hold out to the white flag. I was like, hey, can we wreck across the line? Coming towards the checkered, is that okay? And unfortunately, it was a wreck before the start-finish line. But I'm just happy overall, and just looking forward to next week, see if we can get another W.
Sounds great. Again, congratulations. That's your winner here at Daytona, Joey Doucette. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
You too. All right. Wow is it.
Wow. Yeah, that's all I got to say. I mean, that was a hell of a race to call, and we appreciate everybody who has watched tonight along with us here up in the booth. So from everybody at IWM, iRacing Motorsportz, the broadcast network, as well as everybody in Levy, thank you for watching tonight's broadcast, and we hope you can join us next week, same time, same channel, as we cover the third week of the iRacing Warriors Motorsportz Cup Series. So It's going to be another fun week, And
We'll be at 160 laps at Texas, so that should be interesting. So
that should be a great race. It always is, and it's going to probably come down to some fuel strategy, I can imagine. So make sure to tune in there, and if you haven't already, make sure to like this video. The YouTube algorithm likes that a lot, as well as giving us a subscribe. We want to grow this channel. We want to be able to reach as many racing lovers and iRacing lovers and sim racing fans as we can, and we would love for you to join the community. So make sure to follow us and subscribe to our channel. But from John and Rick up in the booth, we hope you have a good night.
good night, folks.